Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it is the continuation of that message that was sent to me by one of our admins from our sister who is saying that she is in South Africa, but she is from Ghana. Strange things do happen in this world. The message reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? I am back again with my confession. So even though I felt so remorseful, this was after my brother has started to lose my mind, because what happened was that when I had returned back to South Africa, I was called to that other rich auntie's place, the one who is the head of our club, and she made me to perform more rituals on top of more rituals. I really do not understand where we got it wrong, because one of my elder brother, who was like a prayer warrior of the family at that time, he was then showed in a dream by God everything that I was doing here in South Africa. He was then told that he had to go on a fasting period. So whilst he was on that fasting period, he then drove back to the village and straight to my son's grave. When he went to my son's grave, that was when he saw that my son's grave had been tampered with, because soon after I had landed here in South Africa, the directions that I had been given was that I had to find some boys back home in Ghana that were going to dig up my son's grave, and after they would have dug up my son's grave, then they were supposed to remove his bones. We needed the bones from his toes and as well as his fingers, and these were supposed to be crushed, and after they would have been crushed, then they were supposed to be burnt and they were supposed to be sent here to South Africa. So there was this other man who was coming here to South Africa. What they did was that this man acted as if he was bringing this other birthday present for one of his South African girlfriends. Even that woman, she did not even know that the suitcase that she was given, it actually had human remains in it. So after this lady had been presented this suitcase by her blesser, then later on the blesser called us and we went and we collected these human ashes that belongs to my son. So after we had done all of these things, my brother, whilst he was on his fasting period, he was then directed to my son's grave by the Holy Spirit, and he was showed everything that had happened. And he saw that my son's grave had been tampered with. He called me and he said that, "Oh dear sister, what have you done to yourself? For I know the things that you have done in South Africa are very evil. I still love you, oh dear sister. Why don't you return back home so that I can take you to the bishop and you can at least ask for forgiveness and the bishop is going to pray for you?" I then started to cry, because this is what I had been told by Jennifer. I was supposed to act as if I was feeling remorseful, and I started to cry whilst we were having that video chat, and I actually had tears that were running down my face, and my brother felt so sorry. He also started to cry, and I begged him and I said, "Please, brother, do not tell your wife, do not tell any living soul about this, for God is about to punish me. Let me try to find some money. If I get anything here in South Africa, then I am going to quickly return back to Ghana so that you can take me to your bishop so that he can pray for me." My brother then gave me an ultimatum. He then said, "Within 2 weeks, oh dear sister, you are supposed to be here in Ghana." I said, 2 weeks, it's just a little. Can you at least give me 3 weeks? Because that other lady had told me that we were supposed to wait until it was on a full moon night. That is when the rituals were supposed to be finished. So when she looked at the calendar, the full moon was only going to fall on the 3rd week, and it was going to be on a Tuesday evening. That is when there was going to be a full moon. So I had to find a plan to lie to my brother that I was unable to get the money in the 2 weeks that he had given me as his final ultimatum. And he said, "If you do not come, I am going to tell mom and I am going to tell everyone about the things that you have done." So after I had pretended as if I was remorseful, he then gave me 3 weeks and he said, "After 3 weeks, then I am going to tell everyone everything that you have done. How could you partake in these human sacrifices? How can you join a tribe that uses juju to enrich itself? How can you be so cruel to your own son?" But my brother, in the 3rd week, after the full moon. That was when a curse was placed on my elder brother whilst he was there in Ghana. Before, the rich aunties had told me the curse that they had placed upon the life of my brother who was still back home in Ghana. They said that you are not supposed to cry, because the moment that you are going to cry, they know that this curse is going to come against you, because it will be more like a go back to sender. And I then said that I was okay. I was never going to cry. And then what happened was that these ladies, they told me that my brother back home in Ghana was now mentally ill. And I said, can you at least show me? Then this other lady got up from where she was sitting, and I saw that on the wall there was this other big mirror, but this big mirror, it was covered by a black cloth. So I saw everything that was happening back home in Ghana as if it was sort of like a movie. My brother, they had chained him in his bedroom, for he was losing his mind. The next day, I then called my mom, and she started to cry, and she said, oh, God has cursed me. My enemies, now they celebrate because of the things that are happening to my children. First, you lost your own son, and now my son is mentally ill. These village people have finished me. And I said, do not worry, mom, for God is going to fight against our enemies. And I then said to my mom, are you able to send him here to South Africa? And they said that they were not sure if my brother was going to be able to get here to South Africa. And the rich lady aunties, they said that I had to quickly get him here before he would have totally lost his mind. So whilst he was still able to communicate and to behave properly, we had to get him to South Africa. We booked a flight for him, and he came here. The night that he was supposed to fly out of Ghana, there were actually rituals that were done so that he can temporarily be okay. When he came here to South Africa, it was as if he was coming to get medical attention. But I knew that once he was here in this country, I know that the spirits of our club, our gods and our goddesses, they were always going to torment my brother, because I didn't want him to be released so that he can reveal everything that he had been shown by the Holy Spirit. I celebrated when my brother finally landed here in South Africa. Me and my rich aunties, we went and we collected him at OR Tambo. As for his wife, she could not travel with her husband, for I told her that I did not have any money at all. When we picked him up, we went straight to this other old lady's house, where we continued with the rituals, and they took this other clay pot and they placed this clay pot on his head, but upside down. By doing this, they were actually harvesting his mind, and after his brain had been placed into that clay pot, it was then locked up. And as long as that clay pot is locked up, then it means that my brother is not going to be okay. Even right now, I know where my brother is, but I'll never tell anyone. He just randomly walks across several South African provinces, just walking along the highway. And the more that he walks along the highway running mad, that is how I make my own money. As for the ashes that once belonged to my son, and as for those ashes, I keep them wherever I go to. I am supposed to carry these ashes with me at all the times. And whenever I am with these young boys that they call your Ben 10s, usually what I do is that when I am about to sleep with these young boys, I then just take a few of those ashes and rub them on my private parts. The reason as to why I do all of these things, I do not even know, but this is what I was told by these rich aunties to always do whenever I am with these Ben 10s of mine. I am not happy inside. I know that I was once a poor woman, but now I have everything that I want. But despite acquiring all of these material things, I am not at peace. I dream about my son staring at me with the coldest eyes ever. It's like wherever he is, he hates me passionately. I was wrong. Nothing justifies what I did. Some of the members are now going mad. I discovered that they killed their own family members. I think that is my fate too, for lately I have been talking to myself and I am very forgetful. talking about the car keys. I don't know how many times I have had my car keys replaced because I keep on forgetting them. And after I would have replaced my car keys, then I would find them maybe even in my pocket. All that I want to say is that I am sorry to you, my son. I am not happy inside, but I had to do what I had to do.